Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I will share my experience of PhD admission process in the Department of CSE at IIT Bombay. So I had applied for spring session of 2021-22. The application was open in October through online portal and we could apply to multiple departments at IIT Bombay through a single application. But there was separate SOPs required to be uploaded for each department. So for those who aren't familiar with what is an SOP is nothing but a statement of purpose which is required to be around 300 to 400 words explaining the purpose of doing PhD. That is, why do you want to do PhD, what is the future goal, what is your area of interest and why you want to do PhD in the department that you are applying to, and the institute also why you want to apply in that institute, and you could also brief about any particular projects and research papers you have published in the area that you are applying for to showcase your interest. So the candidates were shortlisted and we were intimated through a message as well as email, and the call for the interview letter was also put up in the application portal where you log in. So the next step was the written test. It was conducted online in the last week of November through Code Tantra platform, and it was a proctored test. They made sure that there was no chance of mistakes or doubts regarding the test. There was a meeting that lasted for about 1.5 hours with the faculty coordinators and the test coordinators, clearing doubts about the test and platform. So this was followed by two mock tests, out of which attending at least one test was compulsory to be allowed to attend the actual test. So the actual test was on a Sunday, which was for about 3 hours. Syllabus was completely GATE syllabus. Though the number of questions were less, it covered almost every important subjects of GATE. The test included MCQs, fill in the blanks, and also multi-choice questions. That is, multiple choices could be correct in one question. So difficulty level was medium and it was not so lengthy. We had to keep our camera and mic on throughout the test, and an invigilator was monitoring from the other end. So based on test performance, about 50 candidates were selected for the interview round. They sent a Google form with uh, a list of all research areas and project positions which had PhD openings. We could make only a maximum of two choices, and depending on these choices, we got the interview panel. So if you're making two choices, you will have interview for both these from both these panels depending on their selection criteria. So I chose visual computing as one option, and among multiple projects that had openings, I chose a project related to deep learning. So interviews were held in the first week of December, and my first interview was for the project position. They had sent a mail with the interview schedules and link. Then, as the interview started, the first thing was, as usual, to introduce myself with the academic background. The first question was based on deep learning, where professor asked me what is meant by backpropagation, and then about gradient descent. Then they asked a question related to algorithm. He asked me to give a recurrence relation for number of parts a plane will be divided into with n straight lines. Then another professor shared his screen and showed a scenario of NLP application and asked me to find a method of solving it. I don't think he was completely happy with the answer, but said it was a good try. So they mainly wanted to know the thought process or the approach that you are going to do for any problem. So as there was some project openings for NLP, that is NLP related projects, so sir also asked me some English related questions related to parts of speech and vocabulary. So this was a surprise for me. I wasn't quite expecting that, so I didn't answer well in that. Uh, Finally, he asked me a simple question related to probability. There were three professors in total. And the schedule given was 15 minutes for each candidate, and my interview went just over 15 minutes. So, this was all about the first interview. So the second interview was after 2 days with the visual computing panel. So before the interview, they had sent a form to fill in the details about research interests and an optional recommendation letter submission. Here too, there were three faculties in the panel, and as usual, they asked me to introduce myself. And since my MTech project was related to the area, especially in the area of object detection, they asked me more about the project and about some related research papers like YOLO. In addition, they also asked some basic machine learning and deep learning concepts like what's the difference between stochastic and batch gradient descent. So overall, my interview went quite well. The results were out on the scheduled date, and I was selected unexpectedly from the first interview panel uh, because I had thought my second was the better one. But I got from the first one, and I'm currently pursuing PhD at IIT Bombay. Overall, 8 students were selected in my batch, and I would also like to add some experiences that I thought was better in the process of interview process here compared to others. That is, one is that every process happened almost exactly as mentioned in the first schedule that was out, and during the interview all the professors had switched on their videos for better face-to-face interview process, and overall experience was great, and I hope that sharing this helps you get into the institute of your choice as well. So thank you all.